Sorry, we were talking about legal matters.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the Emmaus Borough Council. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hope everybody enjoyed President's Day yesterday. That's why we're meeting tonight. Personal appeals part one. Anyone have an appeal? Please approach the podium. Guess they all sound the same, huh?
I'm out that way, so.
Mine's over there. I'm good.
Yeah, I hit hers on the way in.
You just bought it.
My name is Gene Clark, and I'm president of the Canals Homestead Preservation Society. And contrary to popular belief, I am not here to ask for anything. Mr. Brown. But I just want to give you a little update. We are now 6 months old with the renewal of the Preservation Society. Last August, we met with John Schmoyer, Marilyn Yobst, and Dr. Waddell, and we talked about how we could revitalize the organization. On September 13th, we had an informational meeting at the library. Mr. Lavenberg was there. Thank you very much. We had 25 people in attendance. We started our membership drive the next day. 3 weeks later, we had 30 members and held our first membership meeting, elected a provisional board of 12, and elected officers. Our first board meeting was October 26th. Full agenda with planning for old-fashioned Christmas. It was decided that our monthly board meetings would be on the first Wednesday night of the month in the community room. The executive committee met with the General Administration Committee on November 9th. We paid the borough our utility arrears in full and discussed working together on repairs to the house and barn. Thank you to the borough for installing the new heating system in the house. We're grateful. On Saturday, November 12th, it was cleanup day at the homestead. There was a lot of leaves out there, let me tell you. On Friday evening, December 2nd, and Saturday, December 3rd, was old-fashioned Christmas. The Emmaus Fire Department provided floodlights to light the area on Friday night. It looked great and was very inviting. We had the largest number of visitors in the history of the homestead for this event. Saturday, November 5th, we had a board Christmas party, and a good time was had by all. Don't you wish you were on the board? The board meeting on December 7th welcomed Anthony Vizzini to the board as our Centhouse representative. Our first annual planning meeting is scheduled for Sunday, January the 29th, 2017. January 4th board meeting welcomed Glenn Gooch as our representative of St. Paul's Orthodox Church. We now have 14 talented board members. Discussions outline many things that we need to cover in our planning meeting at the end of the month. Our planning meeting on Sunday, January 29th, covered many topics. What was the vision for the homestead? What's our mission statement? Event planning, fundraising, membership drive, repairs, bylaws update, and overall goals, much to do. As we speak, a fundraiser is happening at Paint on Main, Sip and Paint, and the painting is that of a barn. Several other fundraisers have been discussed and will be implemented within the next 30 days. We will participate in the Memorial Day Remembrance Garden event, the grade school historical site visits, and other events throughout the year. We will keep you posted. I am very excited to share with you that we now have 108 members in the Canals Homestead Preservation Society. Our annual membership meeting will be Saturday, May 6th at the Emmaus Moravian Church. We will be electing a permanent board of directors, voting on bylaw changes, and give an update to future plans, and you are invited. Many thanks to the borough for their past, present, and future support. Thank you.
Hey, Gene, just to clarify, you said paint and sip, right? Not sipping paint.
It's probably both.
All right, I just want to make sure.
I know there's a big bottle of wine there, more than one,
Okay. Thank you.
and I did not have any yet.
All right.
Yet. You notice how he said yet?
Any other appeals? Please sign in and state your name.
My name is Edwin Cruz. I live on 525 Broad Street. Don't know me. First of all, I want to thank the borough for getting the monitoring system going. My son's had it on for a little bit over 2 months. That's going well. I'm here today to see if there's a possibility that the borough could see if somebody can clean our street. It is horrible. The cinder is like this thick on Broad Street where the petitions are at. All along the cars, it is so horrible. It's all up on the homes. It's really bad.
The 500 block.
Yeah. Where all it goes all the way from 500 block all the way down to like 600 block, where all the petitions are at, all the center barriers. That is filthy. It is so filthy. You know, I had mentioned it before, and I came to, I had mentioned it a couple of months back.
And they did go through the street.
Did they go through the center of the street?
But they'll go to the edges if cars aren't parked there, but they can't, what they're not doing, because they cover so much ground in one day, is they can't ban parking on every street that they're going on. That's
I
part
know, it is
of their
just-
issue.
Center, though.
Yeah,
What's that?
it is.
Talking about the center.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
no,
I
no.
know that, but
No.
I'm saying, when he was in here, we made it a point to direct the department to go down Broad Street.
Yeah, no, they come down the street. I understand that, Mr. Pepe. But like I said, where all the cars are parked, the stuff is this thick. I mean, it is so bad. It is real bad.
Well, and especially right now.
Excuse me?
Especially right now.
Snow just melted.
Well, and we have that machine probably winterized right now.
Right.
I'm sure probably in the next week or two, we'll be pulling it out because we have some warm weather,
I mean, if there was a possibility that maybe someday, even if they do it once or twice a year, where they come out and put the signs like they do with the snow removal, and at least clean the streets up for us, it is so bad. I mean, I pick it up. I pick up all the leaves because we have a neighbor across the street that doesn't pick up their leaves. They have 2 big trees out there, and they don't pick up their leaves. We don't have any trees on our side, and we got all the leaves. It's bad. It's so bad that, I mean, I pick up, and I picked up a small bag, one of those white bags. I doubled it up. I had half a bag of that cinder stuff in it. That's how thick it is. It is really bad. So I'm just asking the borough if at any possible, even if it's twice a year, where they can come by and put the signs up like they do with the snow removal and just.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. We're aware of it. We'll address it.
maybe Mr. Brown, maybe we'll deal with that on a committee level too.
That would be the Public Works Committee. They can address it. And typically, that's done in the spring anyhow, but sounds like it's,
Well, no, I know exactly I
Yeah.
understand completely what he's saying. Their practice is, if people are parked in there, if we put no parking signs up, are we gonna tow the cars if somebody parks there? I mean, that's the dilemma that the department deals with, and I think that needs to come from kind of a higher directive to tell the department, this is what the practice is going to be.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that we would see an equal number of concerns potentially. Why are our parking spaces? Why can't we use them?
Well,
You know, I
that's-
mean,
yeah, then that's the-
it's always a battle of winning and losing.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what.
well, usually what they do with snow removal is 2 days prior, they'll come out and they put the
Oh
signs
yeah, no,
up.
I understand the
And
process.
we know they're coming.
Yeah.
So everybody moves their car, there's no cars there.
Yeah.
And usually when they come by, they do the snow removal, and they pick the signs up right away, and then
Yeah.
everybody parks.
Right. Oh no, I mean I understand your request. I just say that there's
Yeah, I
For all
mean,
the good, there might be
I
some
get
bad.
it, it's just, that spot there is just, I mean, it is horrible.
Drainage there is.
It is so bad.
all right. Thank you. We'll address that.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else with an appeal?
Get a policy thing, recurring event.
Hearing none, there's no, is there a community minute by anyone?
Can I just make?
Of course.
It's actually not a minute, but I've noticed, and even today coming here, that several residents have televisions out on the street. And just as a quick reminder, I believe we open it again in March is our recycling. Blocking the sidewalks and just leaving things out, it doesn't look very good. It doesn't make the town much presentable. And if we could just, our residents remember not to just leave television. There's a big one that I saw earlier today, and I've seen some others throughout the town.
Mr. Andrews, if you could send me the addresses, because our hauler gives them a tag that says we're not carrying this,
Okay,
but most of those will be there a lot longer than the day after the tag,
right.
which in case is a codes enforcement issue.
And I do realize that tonight is trash pickup is tomorrow, but, you just see them as you're driving and it just.
Well, and they won't pick it up. It will be
Right.
there tomorrow.
Right,
They're
it'll
not
be
res-
there,
They're not
so-
responsible,
And the
so
next
it's,
thing.
But if you can send me a list of addresses when you see them, we'll at least monitor it. And if our codes enforcement officer needs to go out and take care of it.
Why
it's-
not?
What is the date of the next, that note opens in March, but,
The first Monday
It's
in
a,
March?
it's a
First Monday in
second.
March.
Oh,
Or
it's
is it
first
second?
Monday?
No,
So
it's,
I think it's the second.
13th,
March 13th?
Yeah, it's the second.
Second.
Monday.
Okay.
From when to when? Is it like noon to 6 or something like that?
I think so.
Did we shorten it?
What's that?
It's not noon.
I'm not sure. I don't have that
Yeah.
information with me right now.
it would be on the website.
Yeah, I know, I just,
Yeah.
more of a public announcement for.
Okay.
I realize it's coming up, but
Anybody else for community minute? There's no special presentations. Reading of the minutes, we have two. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the public hearing minutes from February 6th? Councilman Anders, seconded by Councilman Barrett. Questions, discussion, corrections? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes. We also have the council meeting minutes from February 6th. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve? Councilman Dufresne, seconded by Councilman Barrett. Questions or corrections? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes. There are no decisions on bids. Communications, we received a letter from, or a request from Joseph Dito, President of the Emmaus Veterans Committee, requesting a Memorial Day Parade banner fee be waived. I'll refer that to staff, and they'll handle that. Fred Mussel from Cedarbrook Sportsman requested a donation for stocking of trout at Furnace Dam. We'll address that in the Budget and Finance Committee. And also, I received a letter from Amy Hitch and Jesse O'Donnell with regards to the 18 acres of land for sale by the Emmaus Borough. They're asking us to reconsider due to them wanting to protect the watershed. So we will enter this letter into the record. Does anybody else have a communication to bring forward? All right. Hearing none, we will move on to Borough Engineers Report, which we have none. Solicitors Report.
I have none tonight, Mr. President.
Unfinished Business Part 1, we have none. New Business, Ordinance Number 1154, an ordinance of the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, amending Chapter 15, subsection 602.2.a of the Emmaus Borough Code, removing a residential handicap parking sign on a public street located in front of 556 Ridge Street within the Borough of Emmaus. This is our first reading. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve ordinance 1154? Councilwoman Gilbert, seconded by Councilman Schubsta. Any questions or discussion? It's a roll call vote. Councilman Brown?
Aye.
Councilman Schubsta?
Aye.
Councilman Anders?
aye.
Councilwoman Gilbert?
Aye.
Councilman Dufresne?
Aye.
Councilman Barrett?
Aye.
Councilman Ladenburg? Aye. There are 7 ayes. Unfinished Business Part 2, there is none. Items not on the agenda. Does anybody have anything to bring forward? Hearing none. Mayor's report.
I have nothing.
Committee reports. Public Works. Chairman Brown.
Okay, nothing for official action for tonight. We did have a pretty good discussion about road projects and the future of road projects. Kind of what does 2019 look like for road projects? And one of the things is allowing enough time that, that we can plan, Mr. Pepe does this with the directors where he asks for a 5-year submittal plan. And so Public Works is looking to say, hey, what's 5 years? But one of the hiccups that we talked about is how do we fund those projects in the future with with different budgets that we come across. So that was something that was of good discussion. So that's the only thing. 33 East Minor Street demolition is about 80% complete. And they were able to have about 3 to 5 people working there because of the mild winter, so which is good. And also, I know Mr. Anders had an email sent to him from a resident about laterals and also sewage. And the 10th Street culvert is still moving forward. We actually got recently granted an easement from the adjacent property owners for staging. But besides that, progress.
I do have an update on the
Sure.
culvert. We had a meeting actually this morning.
Oh, great.
To finish up the bid specs on the project. What we did was we looked at what the estimated cost of the project will be, which will be around $400,000, and that's about what we have budgeted. We have just over that budgeted. But what we did today was we met with the Public Works Director and the engineer and went through a list of things that we could take as alternate deductions of what we could do if the bid comes in higher than anticipated, what we could do out of our department to get that cost down. For example, we've been considering paving the rest, well, at least another chunk of Walnut Street. So if we're going to do that, wouldn't it cost less money for us to just keep paving the rest of the area, including the culvert area, and rather than pay the contractor at the at the higher wages and the higher cost? Some of the finish work, some of the prep work, things like that. So we finished that up today. The bid specs should be ready to get. Well, the bid specs, the engineer drawings are done. We have our permit through DEP. We're looking at next week where they will be advertised in Penn bid. The culvert itself is already out to bid with Penn bid. That is an item that will take 4 months to build, so it's important. Well, 3 months to build. So it's important that we got that out ahead of time. So we're getting there. We're looking at a bid opening. I think it's in the end of March for the project. And our go date, unless something goes wrong, is the day after school's over. We're giving them a very short window to complete this project. We're giving them until the first day of school. So there's not much wiggle room there. So that means if we're doing any of the work ourselves, we have to make sure that we're hitting those timelines too. So that's going to be the trick of it. But we're there. Finally.
4 years later. 5 years later.
We're there.
Ms. Barrett?
So was there anything conclusive as far as what direction to give Public Works Department as far as, I mean, you mentioned that the budget was a little bit of is a complexity. We don't really know where we're going to be in
Right.
assigning these projects. But I think it is beneficial for the residents to know in advance when a project is coming up, so if they have to do sidewalks, they can prepare for it. So what was, out of the notes, I don't know that something conclusive did occur, or was it more of just discussion?
It was more of discussion, and I think Mr. Dufresne actually had some concerns about that in the sense of notifying the residents. Once you notify, Mr. Dufresne was saying, once you notify the residents, that means we're locked in to doing that road project for that. And so it was like, okay, that logistically on paper, we can do that as council, but financially, during that budget season, does that road project, say, we were discussing South 6th Street at the time. Well, does South 6th Street stay in there in the budget, or does it get cut? We can't guarantee that. That's their issue. But you're absolutely right about notifying the resident because of them having to repair their sidewalk or their curbing. So we can lay, when we do lay macadam, that the curbing is on an angle that the machine can't get in there to do a correct seal.
So let's say that we give them a 2 year notice, and for some reason we have budget constraints. wouldn't that just push it 1 year back and it still would be taking effect?
Well, but the problem, I mean, the problem is, as always, is you're trying to make a resident do work 2 years before you would do it, and you may or may not be on council by the time that budget season even comes up. And that's the challenge of it. Municipalities do it all the time. Don't think this is a new concept. Because the whole premise of the discussion really is giving residents enough time to be able to pay for their repairs.
To budget,
and
yeah.
to do that work. But on the other hand, if I spend $10,000 to fix my sidewalk and curb,
You want a
so
new
that you
street.
can pave the road and you don't do it, I'm gonna be really mad.
Yeah, you want a new street.
And that's the flip side
Right.
of the issue.
I think Mr. DeFrank can maybe contest to.
If the economy, there's always gonna be an exception. If the economy falls apart, you obviously have to do certain things. But we should, and I know we can't, you're right, 2 years from now, somebody else might be on council instead of us. The first time we do that and we don't do the project, no one's gonna save in the future for it, because they just pulled away from it. So we have to be as certain as possible, it can never be 100% certain, but as certain as possible that the plan is, that's what we're really going to do. The economy can fall apart and things can change, but it should be an exception.
I
Right.
mean,
And it really comes down to us doing proper planning. I mean, if
Yeah.
paving a road every year is what we're going to commit to, then that means that every year we need to make sure in our capital fund and our road projects, we're committing a certain amount of money. And plan for $40,000 a block. I mean, that's probably a good number.
That's actually low.
Well, it is if you decide to replace the sewer and water line, which you really should.
Oh, and that's what we're looking to do is actually taking care of our infrastructure, getting rid of those clay pipes and those things that affect our I&I process, the stormwater runoff. So that's what we're looking at.
well, I think part of what we can do is if we're gonna have a 5-year plan, get that plan out to the residents, they can see that their street's 4 years out. And maybe if we don't do it in 4 years, at least they know it's on the list, it's coming up. So
Sure.
that doesn't commit us to it, but they know it's coming. So that gives them 4 years to plan for it if you put that list out there.
The plan is good. My concern is, once the letter goes out, then we almost have to be as committed as we possibly can
Yeah.
at the time. The plan is
And
great.
maybe we don't do 2 years. I mean, we used to just do a year. And
Whatever
and
once the letter
if we
goes
knew
out,
a year in advance and they had, maybe till you get it to them in that, it's
Well-
8 months, but they still have a lot more than what we used to do. I mean, at one point, it was only 90 days notice.
Yeah, right, and that's where that's where the uproar would come from. I think the one thing that is clear is that we need to have more discussion.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing conclusive at this moment.
I think it would help too if we knew what are the streets that are dire repair.
We
do-
have those.
Yeah, we have that.
We've done statistical analysis on that through
Right.
GIS.
So, okay,
Yeah, so, but I thank you. Besides that, I'll report progress.
thank you. Health, Sanitation, and Codes Committee, Chairman Shipsta.
Thank you. One item for official action. We have an opening at the Environmental Advisory Council, and we had an interview prior to the council meeting this evening. A gentleman by the name of Jeremy Winch, he lives in Emmaus, came in for the interview. He's lived in Emmaus for 6 years. He's a parent, and his children attend the Seven Generations Charter School. And he has been a volunteer there and also has been involved with the environment and also serves on some church boards throughout the area. And he also is a volunteer for Cub Pack Troop 80, who is involved with the Community Day, Earth Day cleanup. And he's interested in becoming involved with the EAC, so he will be filling an open term of 3 years, and I'll make a motion to recommend Jeremy Winch to the Environmental Advisory
Do we know the
Council.
term?
And the term is 3-year term expiring 3/7/2020.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Councilman Dufresne, questions, discussion? All those in favor? There are 7 ayes.
And we know, we just discussed that the recycling, the electronic recycling will open March 13th. Barring any weather problems that we might have, maybe, hopefully. And also, I'll be attending the EAC's meeting on Monday. We received a letter asking for some assistance in Earth Day this year. So I'd like to get some more information at their meeting on Monday and then bring it back to council for discussion. And our next meeting is scheduled for March 16th at 4:15 in council chambers. I'll report progress.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation Committee, Chairman Anders.
Yes. Actually, we met here on February 7th. The first item to discuss, Crystal Klein was in to discuss the World Tai Chi Day, and I see Mr. Miller in here. Did you have any comments you wanted to add for it, or?
No, I'm just here to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Okay, very good. They requested to do an event on April 29th from 9:30 to 12:30 on the Triangle. Approximately 50 people will be in attendance. The committee felt this was a great event and recommended it to council, so I wanted to put that in the form of a motion to approve the World Tai Chi event, Tai Chi Day, excuse me, on April 29th.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Councilman Barrett, questions or discussion? Councilman Schuster?
Will we be closing the Triangle for this
No,
event?
it was not requested.
Okay, can we recommend those lights get put out? Remember we had those flashing lights to let people know when there was an event happening?
I think they're expecting like 35 people or 50 people.
Yeah, it said 50.
I don't know, didn't we put like flashing lights, like
Yeah.
coming over the hill near the?
Yeah, but that's for one of those, like, we expect 1,000 people at the Triangle
Okay.
that day.
Well, I'm just,
I mean, it's
trying
up
to
to
be
you.
safe.
It's just who's gonna. We're gonna have to rely on them to take it and remove it. I mean, that's
yeah,
the thing. Is it's usually our organization that we put those up for.
right, oh yeah, we used them for the EAC.
Right.
When they had an event there.
Wes?
Yeah, I mean, on the last event, they weren't used.
Correct.
The Snow Blast, I think, would have been beneficial. I think that when we do those type of events, it's beneficial. I don't know if this one hits that threshold of,
People?
yeah.
Okay.
It would be beneficial all the time.
Like, we need to have them with the microphone so we can hear them.
What's up?
Could you someone come up to the microphone, please?
If you don't, I'm an event organizer, and what it falls back on the person putting the event on. Anytime that you don't put that stuff out there and an incident were to happen, you'll get sued on a failure to warn case, and they'll say you failed to warn us that there's going to be, how do you say it, more than average pedestrian traffic in the area, and if somebody does get hit by a car, the attorneys are going to come back and say, why didn't you have signage or cones? And,
That's for our legal counsel.
Well,
to tell
I
you.
could just tell you that the Municipal Tort Claims Act protects against that claim. Now, a private individual, you are correct.
yeah.
But a municipality doesn't have to worry about
I'm
it
just trying to
from a
let you
legal
know.
standpoint. From a moral standpoint, that's up to you. That's what you're here for. From a legal standpoint, you don't have to worry.
Yeah, I just want to let the organizer know so that if something does happen, you guys are protected, but he's not. So.
Okay, great.
State his name, just so.
Can you state your name, please, for the record,
Dustin
on the microphone?
Dustin Kapustiak.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else?
Um,
Or is it
It was.
still discussion?
it was
Did we
still
vote yet?
discussion.
Any
Not
other
yet.
We
questions?
didn't vote yet.
Any questions or discussion yet? All those in favor? There's 7 ayes.
Now, if you'd like to coordinate with one of those boxes, just call my office. We have like a flashing red light box, but we would have to coordinate that between us. All right. I'm Shane. I'm the borough manager.
Okay, I've heard your name many times. But I'm
Good-
blind-
good or bad?
But I'm blind, so I can't see you.
I'm sorry.
If
I
you recall,
apologize.
Previously, it was Roy Enders. Roy Enders was the one speaking prior, right now.
Oh, boy, Andrews, I heard it.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you
Progress.
so much.
thank you. The second item we discussed was the field booking concerns from the, of how to utilize the many different people that require bookings at the baseball, softball, any field, soccer, football fields. The committee did decide on the policy listed. Should I list it all, Shane, or it's fine to read that? Is it a motion that needs to be?
Nope.
Okay.
It's an internal policy.
Just to read through, and if there were questions, let me know. And last but not least, Mike Mahalik was here from the high school baseball to discuss the setup with Mr. Daishala and us of the batting cages that will be installed at Community Park. As you can see in your notes, that Mr. Daishala is going to assist with the paving portion of it, and everything should be set to go by the time they start to take the field. And with that, does anyone have any questions? I'll report progress.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Chairwoman Gilbert.
Thank you. Nothing for official action this evening. It's not that often I get to say that, but next meeting is scheduled for March 1st, and with that, I'll report progress.
General Administration Committee, Chairman Barrett.
You can read through your notes in your packet. We did vote on it. I don't know that it needs official action here, but going back 4 years ago, we had voted to approve the CGI video on the website, basically gave a nice introductory to the town. I don't think it overall, in the end of the day, played out as well as I think we thought maybe it would. They had contacted Shane about renewing that and redoing it. As an advertiser, I didn't find a lot of benefit out of it, so from a business perspective, and then from a councilperson's perspective, I didn't see much value there. So we voted to not move forward with that. If anyone feels differently, speak up. And other than that, progress.
Thank you. Budget and Finance Committee, that's
We have Mr. Andrews.
Was the meeting still held with Representative Simmons?
Yes.
And was there anything of substance?
They, Mr. Laberberg and I met with them and just talked about some things that are going on in the legislature. Also some challenges with the way that DCD and PennDOT open their grant rounds. And that's really what he was interested in hearing. We had other things that we brought up. So it was a good conversation though. And the other thing was back to Parks and Recs. We did meet with the high school and we're meeting with them again.
This Thursday, correct.
So.
And I'll be there for that. Thank you.
But yeah, I think Mr. Labenberg, good conversation with Representative Simmons.
I think we opened his eyes on a couple things.
Yeah, it's amazing what a lot, like, I say this, I work for elected people, but it's amazing what elected people really don't, especially in the higher levels, what they really aren't aware of that you would think that they are. Even legislature that's been introduced from, the other side, whether it was the Senate or the House. And we talked a little bit about some of the legislature that's out there, or some legislature that we wish was out there. And I think it was a good conversation overall. And like you said, we opened some eyes. I know that he's already been in contact with me about the PennDOT grant. We were looking for those crosswalk signals and improving pedestrian safety. And he was a little irritated with the response that we told him we received from PennDOT. So it was nice to see that within a day or two he was already contacting me and trying to push some buttons there. So.
Budget and Finance Committee, that's myself. We have the bill list, Resolution 2017-8. Would somebody like to make the motion to pass the resolution?
So moved.
Seconded. Councilman Shipsta. Questions, discussion, or all those in favor? There are 7 ayes. We have a FEMA reimbursement of, I believe it was $38,000 and change, that the committee recommend that we put it into the building fund. So would somebody like to make that motion?
So moved.
Councilwoman Gilbert, seconded by Councilman Shipsta. Questions or discussion? Councilman Brown?
Yeah, so it's going into the building fund, but my question is, why not the general fund instead of why specifically the building fund for road?
We've actually put those in committee notes more than once about the idea that if you're just throwing it in the general fund, it just gets swallowed up with everything else. It'd be nice, you got a specific pot of money that's being reimbursed that we didn't count on. it would be nice to put that into some fund. My position with the committee was I really didn't care what the fund was. My very first thought was the building fund, but it could be any fund. So that it's not just swallowed into our general operations and we sit there and say, oh, well, we have another $38,000 to spend on balloons or whatever it is
Sure,
that
right,
we
right.
want to spend it on.
That's
That
not-
way we can
That's not
earmark
a
it.
very good example.
Right.
I was thinking more or less trout, trout.
Trout, $38,000 a trout.
$500, $38,000.
That's a notch better than balloons.
Ernest Dam will be really stocked.
But that was the idea behind it, was to take the money, and put it towards something. And knowing that money is towards a project. And that's the project that the committee decided on.
Okay. My personal preference, I'll vote in favor of, but my personal preference was hoping that it went back to Public Works capital instead of more like trucks or something, or equipment. But that's just a personal preference, that's.
Well, and
I'm not-
listen, we
I'm not
could,
downing-
right, and we could sit here and have a conversation of
Yeah.
probably 25
Sure.
different line items that it could have gone into.
But I just need an explanation of just.
Yeah, we really could have debated probably 25 different projects it could have gone to. And I think we kind of did beat it to death in two different committees. And that's the one that they settled on. I'd rather see it earmarked to something rather than just thrown in with the rest of the money.
No, I agree. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'd rather see it earmarked too. I agree with that approach. I haven't sided with Nate here. It's not a hill for me to die on, but I'm gonna vote no here. I like that it's for something.
You just would like somewhere
I would
else?
just like somewhere else. But
Okay.
I like that it's for something. I agree with that philosophy 100%.
Okay. Anybody else? All those in favor? There are 5 ayes. Those opposed? Councilman Anders and Councilman Dufresne. 5-2. Then we have, what was the other thing?
The fish.
The trout.
The fish, yes.
He was just making.
I was just talking about $38,000 of fish.
We had,
$8,000 fish.
we had a recommendation for stocking the Furnace Dam, and it is a higher request than we have received in the past. And it's a request for $500 versus what we paid in the past, which was $300. And it's due to the cost of the food increase. The average food was about mid-20s for a bag of food, and now it's $37 a bag of food. So their costs have gone up. So would somebody like to make the motion to approve that? Councilwoman Gilbert, seconded by Councilman Barrett. Questions, discussion, all those in favor? There are 7 ayes. And I report progress. Community Relations Planning and Development Committee, Chairman Dufresne.
Nothing for official action. At the next meeting on March 9th at 4 o'clock, we are gonna recommend a volunteer of the year. So if you do have any recommendations, please send it to us before then. Other than that, I'll report progress.
Thank you. Under boards and commissions, you have the pension board meeting minutes. Personal appeals part 2. Anybody having a personal appeal? You're the only one here, so that's why I'm looking at you. Are you on it or not?
I'm usually a good public speaker, but when you're the only one in the room.
Okay. Borough Manager's report.
Now you have all my notes. We're dealing with a number of things with the LCA stuff, and Solicitor Demick and I are putting together a game plan to present to you guys in the near future. I think other than that, I'll report progress. You have the significant revenue and expense items in your iPads.
President's business, I have nothing for tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn? Councilman Barrett, seconded by Councilwoman Gilbert. All those in favor? There are 7 ayes. Meeting adjourned at 7:40 Borough clock time.